Hi, my name is Arvind Sanjeev. I have a startup company here in Cochin. I basically had an idea of creating a car automation application for smartphones when I was doing my bachelor's in Tokyo Institute of Science and Technology. The idea of the product which I developed was a smartphone application using which a user will be able to control all the features of the car, such as air conditioning, engine on or off, parking lights, central locking, all through their smartphones. The basic idea being that all the people around the world carry their smartphones around with them. So why do they have to carry bulky car keys too with them? So using my application, they would be able to access all the features of the car like central locking, etc. via their smartphones. Thus eliminating the need for carrying bulky car keys with the remotes attached to them, etc. So that's how I started off. That was my first product. It was called Ride Smart, and after that, I was incubated under a technology incubator here in Cochin called Startup Village. I was able to associate with them, and I met a really great number of cool people from there. One of them being Mr. Rohil. He is right now the CEO of RHL Vision, also called as Fin Robotics. Initially, Rohil had introduced himself to me at Startup Village, and he had asked me to actually create a product prototype for his idea, which was a small wearable ring. Using the ring, we would be able to essentially control all the applications in our smartphone or in our smart TVs, etc., just by using hand gestures. So by wearing this thumb ring, essentially the device will be able to map all the gestures you're making with your finger or your palm and convert it into actions on your smartphone. So it enables a user to access most of the features of their smartphone without having to essentially take their phone out of their pocket. And another use of this may be also in smart TVs, where you can use the same gestures, like I said before, to change the channels or to change the volume, etc., without having to use an external remote. And that product was called Fin. I was able to make the prototype or the proof of concept model for them. They're right now working in Bangalore with the team there in order to successfully make it into the production phase. We were also able to successfully raise a crowdfunding from Indiegogo. About $200,000 were raised from it, and we got more than 1,000 pre-orders for the product too. Right now, I'm working on, with the support of Startup Village, in creating a developer community here in Cochin. It's mainly aimed at promoting the students or encouraging the students here in Cochin to have a greater hands-on approach towards technology by using open source technologies like some of them like Raspberry Pi or Arduino. So right now we are aiming at creating a number of workshops or tutorials for students on all these colleges here in Cochin, and by physically incorporating them into a hall and giving them physical tutorials on how to use these boards or how to do coding, for example in Python or any other languages. So that's our current agenda. And I'm also heading a personal blog called DIY Hacking. DIY stands for Do It Yourself. So I have posted several projects on them. All of them are open. We're having detailed instructions and tutorials on how to make each of them, including the source code. Once again, it's completely open. So basically, when I started off, I was doing my bachelor's. Most of the courses are outdated, and they don't teach us all the relevant or all the veritable and latest things that are out in the world today. So I had this particular challenge which I personally tackled using the internet. So I use the internet, I use Google search, YouTube videos to study what I wanted to learn. For example, I studied Android application development, I studied embedded programming or about embedded electronics through Google and YouTube. So it was something like a self-initiated approach which I took. I didn't have the help of any of the college authorities on the basis of this aspect or on the basis of this thing. So I personally used the internet to gain more knowledge. I used YouTube videos, I went through all of them to study, and then I applied all those which I learned to practical concepts. So that's something else which I would like to point out. The educational system is completely outdated. They don't teach us about the veritable and latest technologies out there today. Also, most of the colleges here only focus on theoretical aspects about the courses they are taking. They don't give much importance to the practical aspect of what they're learning. And some of the technical difficulties I personally faced while developing my product was um, in case of the car automation application, there were some difficulties I faced because I didn't have much contacts among the automobile field industry. I wasn't able to get sufficient knowledge about how I could tackle these problems for my product. So, but I had my company incubated at Startup Village here in Cochin. It's a technology incubator, because of which I was able to get a lot of support from the officials over there. They were able to connect me to some important officials in the automobile field, some people like from Bosch, etc. So I was able to gain more insight about my product from them through their feedback, etc. And Startup Village also helped me in a lot of other stuff, maybe funding or maybe technical guidance. They have helped me a lot in that. So I encourage all the students out there who wish to learn more about the latest technologies. I would give them an advice like, instead of studying stuff just from college, you should have a more self-initiated approach of using Google and YouTube and learn what you want to learn about the latest technologies using those tools. Because in the current educational scenario, most of the stuff you are learning are outdated. And apart from that, I think for gaining more, if you wish to pursue a startup company or anything like that, wish to make your own product, you would have to, I would advise probably getting incubated under a good incubation center, so that they would help you gain more knowledge about how you can make a good business plan or how you can make a good pitch for investors, etc. So one of the open source projects which I published on my blog is called the Smart Cap. So the Smart Cap is essentially a Google Class clone. One of the reasons why I did this project was that many of the people had a few misconceptions about the Google Glass and its functionalities, that it's a very premier or elite product that you'll have to pay at least $1,500 or something to gain access to it or to gain functionalities to it. So I just wanted to show how you could build your own Google Glass clone or a similar project with a budget under than $100. So I was able to put together a few open source development boards and a few softwares, and I was able to make a clone of the Google Glass. So I was able to incorporate it into a cap, a wearable cap. So it has a head-mounted display on one eye, and it has a mic for voice recognition and a webcam for streaming, for getting the first person streaming experience for another guy who wishes to see what the person wearing the smart cap is seeing. So using this project, people would be able to make their own head-mounted displays or Google Glass clones for less than $100. I was able to post tutorials and instructions about the project online, and was able to make the source code open as well. So this was just another contribution to the open source and DIY community to show people how they could make their own wearable technologies and other cool stuff. Even for the students here in Cochin, even if they don't have much exposure to all these technologies, they could build their own stuff similar to all these high-end technologies while sitting in at home. So while I was the CTO of Finn, we were able to successfully raise a crowdfunding goal of about $100,000. The goal was set at $100,000, but we were able to raise $200,000 on Indiegogo, and we had more than 1,000 pre-orders from the site too. And initially the product, we had posted a video about the product and its applications, use cases, and a few design elements too on Indiegogo. And many of the people, primarily people based in Europe and America, were able to pre-order Finn. Basically because we had given an early bird offer on the Indiegogo. The product was marked at $99, and it was set for retail after the campaign at $120. So people had the tendency to buy pre-order fin because it was just $99 at the time. So we had more than 1,000 pre-orders, and also apart from that, fin also had an initial angel investor. He was an Indian from Delhi, and he was also able to pitch in some money for the concept. So this was before the crowdfunding, and he was able to put in a significant amount of money, basically for part or stake of the company. And at the time, the company didn't have a prototype of the product. It was basically solely on idea, and based on the idea, the particular investor was able to pitch in or given a particular amount of money. And apart from that, for my initial product, Right Smart, I personally didn't try to get any funding, primarily because I was more focused on perfecting the technological side of the product, and I also had another vision of trying to install some of these devices in a few cars in the local market first. Primarily wanted to get the reaction or the feedback from the people in the local market here about their attitude towards my product, and about features that they wanted it to have, etc. So it was basically an experimentation in an experimentation mode. So that was one of the reasons why I didn't try to seek funding primarily. Yeah. So basically, I'm pretty much happy that I was able to get into the startup culture and was able to start my own company. Primarily because if I hadn't done that, I would have been probably working for an IT company, doing their projects and stuff. But the knowledge I gained from following my own startup company, etc., was pretty magnanimous, and also the variety of knowledge that I learned. It may be about business or may be about the technical stuff which I learned. It's far much greater superior to what I could have learned if I was working in an IT company or doing something else apart from this. So the kind of encouragement I received was primarily from my family. I had the support from my parents for pursuing a startup company, and I also had a few of my friends from my college who also supported me with a lot of stuff which I was doing. And apart from that, the incubator which I was incubated under, called Startup Village in Cochin, they were able to help me significantly, maybe with technical guidance or maybe with the business agenda. They were able to help me, primarily because of the environment they have over there. The environment over there is completely full of startup companies. Everyone is trying to pursue their own startup company over there. So they tend to help each other out with maybe with the business plan, maybe with technical aspects about their products. So that's also a sort of encouragement that I received